Hey, what's up guys? Lightsaber Samurai here, and you are watching my boy Chris Pico, the old ass retro gamer, on YouTube. Let's talk about it.
Well, apparently my this damn thing. Hate it. I'll be right back. I gotta reboot the computer.
Hey, what's up, guys? Lightsaber Samurai here, and you are watching my boy Chris Pico, the old ass retro gamer, on YouTube. Let's talk about it.
It's working now. Yeah. Let's see what's been going on. Yeah, I'm invisible. Yep. And Peter's just enjoying the fact that his music is on my channel. Jealous of that intro. I got a bunch of them I still got to use. What's up, everybody? Welcome, Mondane. Welcome, TJ. Welcome, Peter. I'm not invisible anymore. Yay! So skipped last month's recent pickup live stream because I think in the entire month of October, I bought maybe 2 games. And I bought like a handful of movies, not enough to justify having an entire stream. It would have been like seriously a 15-minute stream. So I decided to wait, and turned out to be a good thing. Yeah, I'm glad everybody's here. Woo! Turned out to be a good thing because I did a lot of stuff in November in this past month. I drove up to Minnesota and hung out for a weekend with the Game Grinder and Corpse Flood, Jason. And we went around game hunting. We did a lot of trades. We had been like every year at the Midwest Gaming Classic, when we would meet up, we would always have games that we've been like buying for each other over the course of a year. You know, like Jason would be looking for a game. I find it really cheap by me. I buy him a copy of it. I give it to him at the convention. He gives me something that I was looking for, that kind of thing. We exchange gifts, basically. And it had been piling up since after the 2019 Midwest Gaming Classic, because we have not seen each other. I saw Church a couple of times. I saw him last year in November. I flew up to Minnesota to hang out for a weekend, but like I haven't seen Jason in person since 2019. So like we had stacks of stuff for each other to pass out to as gifts. So I got a lot of stuff like that. Like we went game hunting while we're in Minnesota. Black Friday happened, and lots of stuff were bought. Lots and lots of stuff. And this month I actually had money to spend, and did I get a lot of not only movies, but some games, and there's a lot to talk about. And even some non-video game related stuff. So let me wet the old whistle here for a second before I talk myself dry. So let's start off with the non-game related stuff. So Mondane knows all about this, as he is a part of it. Planning a big Dungeons and Dragons campaign with 6 players. Mondane is one of them, and I've been prepping hard for it. I've been buying a lot of stuff to be able to play. Bought some miniatures when I was up in Minnesota. What's his name? Jesus. The Game Grinder took me and Jason to this. It's like half comic book shop, half game shop in Minnesota. That was really awesome. I do not remember the name of it. Wasn't too far from where he lives. And Jason basically hung out in the comic section of it, and me and Church went and hung out in the game section, and I lost my flipping mind. I was buying all of these miniatures, and I was talking to all the players on my phone at the same time, saying, like, what do you think your character looks like? Do you want me to base it off of what you guys designed in Hero Forge? Because we've all been basically using Hero Forge to create like a representation of our characters, and I've been making characters of my own that I'm going to be using as NPCs in the game. And I'm like, do you want me to base it off of that? Do you have an idea of what your character's supposed to look like? And I ended up buying a miniature for every one of them. I don't have them with me right now. They're in the other room, packed away. I don't want to damage them in any way, so I don't want to handle them. Nerdy time. So I have been buying a lot of books. And I bought this other thing that I got on Black Friday on Amazon. I looked at it once on Amazon, and apparently I remembered that, and it has been taunting me with it every single time I log onto the website. And then on Black Friday, it was like, oh, remember that thing you were looking at? Like, that one time a month ago? It's $10 off. I'm like, fine. And that is this set of condition rings. And if you're not a D&D player, you use these when you're using miniatures for combat. And you put these around the player character miniature when something happens to them, like they get attacked, and like you can see it here. There are a lot of them, and they're for a lot of different conditions. Like if they're stunned, restrained, they have concentration, they're cursed. So you basically take these rings. There's a couple of them for each condition, or actually more like 4 for each condition. Like this person has been frightened. And you just drop this around the base of the miniature so they know that that person is affected by that effect. And this is super cool. I watch them use this kind of thing on Critical Role all the time. The only thing is they don't have one that's like specifically like this. What they end up using, what it looks like to me, are the little rings that are left over on soda bottles. Like when you take the top off, this ring right here that's left over, the ones they use, because they have those little ridges on the inside, and they just use those. They get different colored ones, and they use those for different conditions, and that makes me laugh every time I see it. I was like, okay, they're being cheap. They're making millions of dollars every year, but they're still being cheap. That's awesome. But no, I decided to buy mine because why not? But it's pretty cool. All different colors and all special and pretty. So there's that. And I like the fact that it comes in this thing that looks like a big spell book. So that's rad. But I've been buying a lot of books, and I haven't just been buying them willy-nilly. I've been, those are pretty. What's up, Tiger Shot? How's it going? Only took 2 years. Yeah, it took me like a whole year. Glad you finally joined the PS5 family. Target. I was led on by one of the players for my campaign that Target sells D&D stuff, and they sell it for well below the retail price or the suggested retail price. It's usually like 30 to 40% off on the website. So they had a sale where everything was even more discounted than usual. So I went and checked that out. And then like this month, that was in October when I did that one. But then this month they had a buy 2 at the discounted price and get 1 free. So I took advantage of that too. But I also found one at my local Half Price Books, and I had a half off coupon, which is why I bought this Out of the Abyss book. It says Dare to Descend into the Underdark in this adventure for the world's greatest role-playing game. So this is a couple of new, I think, character types or character races, and an entire adventure that you could use, a pre-written one, which is cool. So when I run out of ideas, I can, we'll use one of these. And then there was the ones that I got for the sales. So the first sale that I took advantage of in October, and that was I think everything was like 50% off. I picked up the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and it says create your own critical role campaigns with this source book for the world's greatest role-playing game. So this is in addition to the ones that are specifically for playing in the world of, Exandria, that Matt Mercer created for Critical Role. So if I want to skip over to there, I have this, and this has a couple of new character types, I do believe, and a complete adventure in here also, which is kind of awesome. And it also has a gigantic map in the back that you basically have to tear out of here. I ain't doing that shit. I ain't ruining this book. It's too pretty. But there's that. And then the other one I got then was Waterdeep Dragon Heist, which essentially is just a adventure. It says a splendid treasure trove is yours for the taking. And this is a complete adventure novel. And this one comes with a map of its own also in the back, which I will not be destroying. Did they release Temple of Spell Templates? Yeah, there's new spells and stuff in each of these. I think we'll wait until we get to a higher level before we start talking about them for the campaign. Did they release Temple of Elemental Evil again? Such a great adventure. Not that I've seen. And then for the buy 2 at that 30 to 40% off that they normally sell the books at and get 1 free sale that I took advantage of this month, I picked up Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And this is explore a wealth of new rules options for players and dungeon masters in this supplement. So this is a whole bunch of new stuff, and I have this book actually digitally also in D&D Beyond, as well as Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which is basically another one of this. It says a magical mixture of new rules options. So it's more things that we can add to our characters and whatnot, like new character types, like a steel defender, optional new barbarian, and bard types, and it's a lot of crazy info. And then the last one I bought, I absolutely needed because I've set our campaign in this area, and that is Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Explore the Sword Coast in this campaign source book. So this is all about the Sword Coast, where I've set our campaign. So this is basically all the background knowledge I need about the area to kind of bring the campaign to life. Prestige classes. Yep. So I've been busy, very busy, trying to read all this info, try to incorporate it into the story, finish the story, trying to get everything ready so I'm not completely lost when we actually do start. And that's it for that kind of stuff. So now let's jump into the films. And I've been busy. So I have been what was the term? You guys have no idea how tired I am. I had like 0 sleep last night. I almost fell asleep at work today. I've been turning in or selling my copies of stuff on Blu-ray if that same movie is available on 4K, double dipping or whatever you want to call it. If it's a movie that I really like. I'm trying not to do it for my whole collection. There's some movies where I'm like, I don't really care if it's in 4K or not. I'd rather just keep my Blu-ray. But if there's something that I know I'm going to watch a lot and I care about the audio and visual presentation of it, I'll exchange it for that kind of copy. And I've done that a lot this month. But I've also bought some Blu-rays. I've also bought some. I've double dipped on a couple of them one specifically because of needing extra space on the shelves. So let's see here. You guys know that I'm big into this stupid camera. No, I'm not big into my camera. Rule 1 of Sword Course: do not rip off the Thieves Guild. Oh, that's a big thing that's going on in our campaign. Trust that. I'm a big fan of the Full Moon features, Full Moon Films, Full Moon Motion Pictures, or whatever the hell the name of the company. The name of the company has changed like 37 times. Now it's Full Moon Features. And low budget horror, sci-fi, fantasy movies that were coming out like mostly in the 90s. They're still happening today. Got their signature franchises are Trancers, Subspecies, Puppet Masters, the big one. Stuff like that. And every once in a while, I've kind of had my enthusiasm for Full Moon stuff kind of killed a little bit because of something that happened a couple of months ago that really kind of soured me on the whole thing. I won't really go into it here, but I am still looking at the new movies that they're releasing, seeing if there's anything that I want to add to the collection. And 2 of them came out, and then they had their normal, I can't remember what day it was. They had some sort of a sale last month, and they just released these not too long ago, and they already discounted them by like half. So I jumped on it while I could before they sold out. And that is Trancers 4. And this is actually called Trancers 4. It actually has a subtitle. Trancers 4, Jack of Swords. And Trancers 5, and this one is Sudden Death. DETH, because that's the character's last name. And the first 3 movies are like science fiction action movies involving time travel and all that, and a kind of a cool twist on time travel. But these, Jack gets sent like back to medieval times, and he has to take on like an evil wizard. And this was kind of like what they did with Puppet Master 4 and 5 and Subspecies 2 and 3, where they basically wrote one big long script that would be longer than your standard Full Moon film. And I can't talk. Full Moon films, that's a tongue twister. Full Moon films usually don't go past 80 minutes. They're always like between 70 and 80 minutes long. So they basically wrote a movie that's an hour or maybe just slightly over 2 hours long and split it in half. And they filmed the whole thing as one and then just cut it in half and released 2 movies separately. And they did that with these 2 films. Trancers 4 and 5 are filmed back to back and split in half, just like I said, those other films and those other franchises. And these are probably the least watchable of the ones with Tim Thomerson still playing Jack Death in them. They are not that great. They're directed by David Nutter, who ended up going on to direct like a lot of really good episodes of the X-Files. But like these are like bargain basementy. It's like super cheap. And like Tim Thomerson looks like he's kind of done with the character. And then they went ahead and made another movie without him in part 6. And it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Looks like it was all filmed in one person's apartment. It's horrible. But I had to have these for the collection because I have the trilogy of the original 3 also. So I had to have that. I haven't watched them yet. I haven't seen these since probably they came out on VHS back in the 90s. So there's that. There are a few 4K conversions that didn't go well. Yeah, I own a couple of them. Next up, we have X. And this is a horror slasher movie that came out earlier in the year. I want to say it came out like in February or something, or maybe May? April or May. It came out in theaters. I missed it. I did not get a chance to go out and see it. I kept on hearing good things about it. Or maybe it came out in January. I can't remember. It's not important. Anyway, I wanted to check it out. And then all of a sudden, the announcement that less than a year, like less than like 10 months after the movie came out, a prequel was coming out to the theaters called Pearl. And I saw the trailer for Pearl, and I was like, that looks really cool. I should probably watch X first because that is a prequel to this. So I rented this on Vudu, I think it was, and watched it, and it's pretty cool. It's not as great as a lot of people I know are making it out to be, but it is pretty cool. It's a movie that takes place in the 70s about a bunch of young people going out into the middle of nowhere to make a porno. Kid Cootie's one of the people making a porno, and he exposes himself. He's packing. And it stars Mia Goth here, who is going to be the next big thing in Hollywood. Trust me. Yeah, she does get a little bit of a naked in it, but it also stars Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday in that new Wednesday show on Netflix. And it turns out the person whose farm that they have renting is it's owned by this crazy lady named Pearl, who is like oversexed and goes on a murder spree. And then the prequel is all about why she went crazy or how she went crazy when she was younger. And Mia Goth plays her in Pearl also. So Mia Goth plays Maxine, the lead in this, as well as the old version of Pearl. She's in a whole bunch of prosthetic makeup to make her look ancient. And then she went and played Pearl again as a young girl in Pearl, which is awesome. And now they're making a sequel to this about Maxine making it in Hollywood, or trying to make it in Hollywood. And it's a slasher movie there too. So it's pretty cool. I had to pick it up. I found this at Target when I was hanging out with a bunch of friends. Didn't expect to be able to find this. This has been out for like almost a year on home video. And I found one with the slipcase still intact. So that's awesome. Had to get that. Next up we have, let's see here. I've been talking a while about trying to get all of the Studio Ghibli movies on Blu-ray, and randomly when I found X, I found this at Target too, and this is one of the ones I've been really looking for, but nobody has it with the slipcover. But that is The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. I've never heard of this one. I've never seen it, and I found it sealed with the slipcover intact. And this is also one of the Shout Factory releases, not one of the Disney ones where they botched them all up. But this one stars Chloe Grace Moretz, James Caan, Mary Steenburgen, Darren Criss, Lucy Liu, and Beau Bridges. And it just says it's a powerful, sweeping epic that redefines animated storytelling and marks a triumphant high point with an extraordinary filmmaking career for Academy-nominated director. Oh, they decided to put a stamp right over this dude's name, so I can't read it. Whatever. It's one of the Ghibli movies I did not own, so I had to have it. I think I only need like 2 or 3 more, and I am done with the collection. Yes. I think I can get them directly from the Shout Factory website. Next up, we have a movie that I talked about. I talked about the game version of this twice in those live streams I've been doing about my collection. Talked about it in the Genesis one and one of the Super Nintendo ones. I finally found the movie version of it. I was talking about it before, but I had no clue that this was available on physical media, at least in Blu-ray. I know it's on DVD because I used to own it. But when I bought the the condition rings set. This popped up in my feed also, and it was just kind of like people who have bought things that you've bought have bought this also, and that's No Escape. This is it's billed as an action movie, and I remember the trailers making it look like an action movie when it came out in the 90s. It's really like a drama. So Ray Liotta plays this like soldier who shoots his superior officer and gets sent to like this supermax prison. But the supermax prison is actually like this island out in the middle of nowhere, and they just dump prisoners that they don't want intermixing with like regular prisoners in normal prisons. They dump them there to basically just die. Turns out like the people that were dumped there have like split into two different camps. There's like a camp of like people who just want to like live their lives. You know, they grow their own vegetables, they make their own food, they kind of live all peacefully. And then there's a bunch of like the radical people who are like crazy nuts that they've dropped off there that are all, you know, anarchists and want to murder and whatnot. And Ray Liotta kind of has to choose between the two. And it's pretty cool. It's more of a drama with a couple of sci-fi things going on in it, but it's actually a pretty cool movie. The guy who directed this directed GoldenEye and then directed Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. Like, he's the guy who reinvigorated the Bond franchise in the 90s and then again in the 2000s. And this was the movie that got him GoldenEye. Martin Campbell, he's pretty awesome. He also directed Green Lantern. But I was so thrilled that I got this, and I got this dirt cheap off of Amazon, so I'm super thrilled about that. I haven't seen that movie in 20 years, maybe. I can't wait to sit through it again. But it's, yeah, Ray Liotta, Ernie Hudson, Kevin Dillon, and the bad guy is Stuart. What's his name? Stuart Wilson, who has he been in a Bond movie? No, he wasn't. Stuart Wilson was Martin Campbell also directed the two Zorro movies with Antonio Banderas. Stuart Wilson played the villain in the first one. And Martin Campbell also directed Vertical Limit, and Stuart Wilson played the two main characters, like Chris O'Donnell and I can't remember his sister's actor's name, but he played their dad who died in the beginning of the movie. Stuart from Anthony, look what I can do! Yeah, no, baby puke Green Lantern. Blah, 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 blah. What am I missing? Oh, I'd have to look it up. They're ones that I've never heard of before. And then talk about those boutique labels. There's Umbrella. I talked about them before in one of my pickup videos. Megaforce I got from them. They were doing like a sale. It was like a real deep sale for some reason. I think they were just trying to like clear out whatever they had left of some of their older stock to make room for new stock. And I picked these two gems up. These were dirt cheap. I want to say like in American dollars, because this is an Australian company, American dollars, I think I paid like $7 for each of these. So one of them is video game related, very much related to a trailer which dropped today. But I picked up Super Mario Brothers, the one from the 90s with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper playing a very embarrassed Bowser, or King Koopa, they call him in this. I saw this in the theater, did not like it at all. I was like, I was so on the fence about it that I didn't go and see it until it was playing at the Dollar Theater. That's how like on the fence I was about it. And then the day that we went and saw this, I had the choice. I could either go and see this at the Dollar Theater or go and see Stallone in Cliffhanger at the full price theater. And I said, let's go see this before it disappears. It's $1. Who cares? So yeah, I'm not a fan, but like I said, it was $7 and I want to collect the video game stuff. So I had to get it. I put it on the day it showed up. I was like, I haven't seen this since the theater. Let's roll this. And yeah, I turned it off like 45 minutes in and I haven't put it back in yet. But it's not good. I don't know what the hell Disney produced this. I don't know what Disney was thinking, being okay with the way they changed everything. I mean, like, I don't know. I understand you're making a live action version of a video game, and the stuff that goes on in video games sometimes will not translate well to a movie. So changes have to be made. I understand that. But what they did to this, it's like nothing resembles anything from the game. It's like a movie, and it's like related to Mario Brothers in name only. But, you know, whatever. We'll see. Yeah, try to make the Super Scope popular. Yeah, the big weapon in the movie is like the Super Scope. It's like a de-evolving ray. It's so stupid. And then like the thwomps and the bombs and all that stuff. It is so dumb. But the other one I bought from them that was $7. I had to get it because I was curious as to what the uncut nature of this is, since I was under the impression that this movie was released uncut. But we'll see. Hope you like having lap dance seizures. So I bought a copy of Showgirls uncut. They have like this. Umbrella does like these different themed label things. So this is like from their sensual cinema series. There's a bunch of like softcore porn stuff that they released. This is the only one that I've actually seen. I watched this when it came out on home video, and I was just kind of like, oh boy, that movie is special. And I probably watched it more times than I should have, mostly for the podcast that I do, the movie starting. We've watched this in each iteration of the podcast, the old one and the current one, with somebody. But it's also one of those movies that is so bad, it's kind of awesome, especially for when you're watching it with friends, because you can just rag on it. Like, no one in this movie can act. Like, I don't know what Paul Verhoeven, I mean, the guy who directed this directed RoboCop and Starship Troopers and Total Recall. And then, like, what? Did he suddenly forget how to direct people? Because nobody in this movie can act or look convincing in their parts or whatever. The dialogue is horrendous. The movie is just badly written, but it's like a camp classic. It is so bad, but I kind of like it. And I want to, like I said, I'm curious to see what is uncut about it. She looks like one weird shaped leg. It's supposed to look like an S, like the way the S in Showgirls is. Like you got, it's bookended by the two S's and she's in the middle. But yeah, this stars Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell as a stripper who turns into a Vegas showgirl, and it is all about her boobs and French fries and eating dog food. There's a scene where she gives somebody, or she bangs somebody in a pool, and it doesn't look like they're having sex. It looks like she's having a grand mal seizure. Whatever. Had to get it because it's so bad it's kind of funny. Want Torture, watch Eraserhead. Yeah, I've seen both of them. Crow, the City of Angels, I saw in the theater. That was a mistake. I really want to see the uncut version of that before Disney decided to cut it down to like 74 minutes long. In the last Blu-ray, I had bought like a 3-pack of this series at Half Price Books for like $5 or $6. And it was still taking up too much space on my shelf. And then I went to Best Buy one day to see what they had and found this for $3. So I got rid of mine, and I actually got the same amount of money that I paid for it at Half Price Books when I sold it back to Half Price Books, which I thought was super funny. And I ended up getting this. Like, I made profit on it. So we're talking like the 3 Austin Powers movies. This is like all 3 of them in one regular-sized Blu-ray case. Not much to say. The only one I really like out of the 3 is the first one. And right now, this is the only real way you can get the first movie is if you buy like one of these sets. So that means I'm stuck with The Spy Who Shagged Me and Goldmember, which I'm not a fan of at all. But the first one still makes me laugh. And then the second and third one is just basically all the same jokes repeated over and over and over again until you want to vomit. She's meant to look. I get that she's meant to look like, but it does not work. No, it does not. Nothing about that movie really works, Peter. Grandma seizures make breasts bounce more than real intercourse. You can't see the breasts because, like I said, they're in a pool and the water is splashing around so much you can't see a damn thing. You just see her hair going all over the place in water. So it kind of kills the effect. Nothing in that movie is like what I would consider sexy or hot. It's just weird and awkward. So now we're going to get into the Blu-rays, which I went big into, especially when it comes to horror stuff, because October was, Halloween month, and I had pre-ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon, and I was usually canceling them as I went because I was like, I really don't have money to afford this right now. I need to save the money, so I can, actually pay my rent. But a couple of them I let go through, and then I found a couple at Best Buy when I picked up that Austin Powers thing. So you're going to see a bunch of those here. I'll save those later. Another video game one that I picked up when I was at Best Buy a couple weeks ago. And that is Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. This is the 3rd direct-to-video animated Mortal Kombat movie in this Legends series that they're doing. They released Scorpion's Revenge, which was awesome, and then they released The Battle for the Realms, which was terrible. And then there's this one, and this one's all about Kenshi, the blind swordsman guy from the... was it Mortal Kombat 5 and on? which I think is interesting that they're actually bringing in the later characters instead of focusing on the legacy characters that everybody knows from the original games. So that's kind of cool, but I've been putting off buying this because I did not like Battle for the Realms at all. So I was kind of like, but Jason, Corpse Flood told me that this one's actually pretty good. So I picked it up. Haven't watched it yet. Still sealed. I'll probably watch it this weekend. Next up, we have, let's see here. Dress to Kill. I was talking about this, what was it, 2 months ago maybe? Whenever I talked about Blowout. This is a Brian De Palma movie, and his movies from the late 70s and early 80s were all basically updated versions of Hitchcock movies. What's it called? He did Body Double, which is essentially Rear Window. He did Blowout, which is kind of like, I guess, North by Northwest, I guess. And then there's this, which is his version of Psycho. It's about a guy who's killing like strippers and stuff like that. And it's the weirdest thing because you've got Angie Dickinson in this movie, Big Bad Mama, and she's got to be in her early 50s in this movie. And there's a scene of her in a car where she starts to diddle herself, and the camera follows it all the way down. And I'm like, is she using a stunt cooch? Because I'm pretty sure Angie Dickinson was like, no one needs to see this. No. But it's got some weird porno-esque stuff going on. Like, Brian De Palma was also like obsessed with porno stuff because there's this, and in Body Double, the whole movie involves the porn industry. So there's something going on. But I remember watching this on a whim one day when I was like a teenager, and I was just like, holy shit. I mean, yeah, there's some shit going on in this movie, but it's actually pretty good. It's, like I said, it's a remake of Psycho, essentially. I really, really liked it. It's got Michael Caine in it and Nancy Allen, who used to be married to Brian De Palma. She was in all of his early movies. Stunt cooch. Yep, basically. It's pretty cool. So I got this 4K version of it from Kino Lorber, which is another boutique label. And they are killing it lately. They have released a lot of stuff I want. And I had to get that before the versions with the slipcase were not available anymore. I'm going to save all of the Shout Factory stuff until later, because I got some good stuff. Which one's next? This one is from the Criterion Collection, and that is Lost Highway. I upgraded this one. I had this on Blu-ray. Took forever for it to come to Blu-ray, and I think that Kino Lorber released it on Blu-ray. And then like a year after I buy it, Criterion's like, oh, we're doing a 4K of it. And I was like, you sons of bitches. Here's my money. So I pre-ordered this one off of Amazon. And this is a David Lynch movie that has Bill Pullman and Patricia Arquette in it. Came out in the mid-90s. And I saw it twice in the theater. It was only playing at like 2 theaters in the area. And I went and saw it at this one real out-of-the-way one twice. I liked it that much. And I think I talked about it in my film collection live streams from a while back. This one's like putting a puzzle together. You're given all of these random pieces of information about what's going on in the movie at random times, and it's like up to the viewer to piece it together to figure out what's going on. So like the gist of it is Bill Pullman is like a jazz player, and he's got like a trophy wife that's Patricia Arquette, and he thinks that she's cheating on him. And as he starts to investigate, he starts getting visited by this dude who looks like the devil almost. And then for some reason, he's like transported back in time into like his younger body, and he's dating someone who looks just like Patricia Arquette, just with a different hairstyle. And it's really bizarre and strange. If you've seen David Lynch movies, you know what I'm talking about. They can be really weird sometimes. This is one of them, but this is one of the good ones, I think. It's kind of like Mulholland Falls is kind of the same way, where it's a bunch of just things that seem random until you really start to like think about it and put things together. And then, oh, that's what was going on. Oh, okay, I got you. So yeah, this one is an interesting one. I always enjoyed it. It's got a great soundtrack. It's mostly industrial stuff. You got 9 Inch Nails, David Bowie when he was doing like that industrial album. Was that Outside? Marilyn Manson, Rammstein, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. I like this one a lot, and I cannot wait to watch this in 4Ks. What else do we got? I'll go with the generic stuff. Let's see. Picked up, I had to pick this up because why not? Thor, Love and Thunder, the new Thor movie. Was not a big fan of this one. I thought it was way too silly and focused more on dumbass jokes than telling a story. But when it did tell the story, it was pretty cool because Christian Bale rocks in this. His whole through line is awesome, and he is fantastic in it. But then there's stupid stuff like you've got, whatever. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet, but there's some serious shit going on with Natalie Portman's character Jane in this. And then you're dealing with that kind of stuff. And then the next scene, Thor is trying to settle an argument between Mjolnir and Stormbringer because they're mad at each other because now Thor has to make a choice of which weapon he wants to really use. Does he really want to go back to using Mjolnir now that it's been put back together? Or does he want to continue using Stormbreaker? Now they're not on speaking terms anymore. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? I don't know. This one is not my favorite. I'm not a fan of the second movie in the franchise, and I'm not a fan of this one. But I still think this one is better than 2. But it's a romantic comedy. Yeah, I did not like this one at all. It has, like I said, it has its moments. The drama stuff is good. I like the stuff that's going on with Jane. I like the stuff that has to do with Christian Bale's character. But everything else is just kind of like what else? I also picked up Top Gun Maverick. This is probably one of my top films of the year. Never thought I'd ever say Top Gun and top film of the year in the same sentence because I cannot stand the original. But as one of my friends on Letterboxd said about this movie, wow, Top Gun Maverick is like the original Top Gun if it was good. My thoughts exactly. Yeah, the goats were everything in that movie was a bit much. Yeah, Love and Thunder I did not enjoy, Peter. Some people I know do, but like when my freaking mother, who loves every freaking movie she sees, tells me, it's all right, I worry. But yeah, this movie blew my freaking mind. I saw it in 4D twice. It was so impressive. Like watching this now without the 4D, like the movie has lessened a little bit in my opinion. It's like it's just not the same because of all the movements that you're making with the chairs and all that and stuff like that. And that scene at the end where they're doing all the climbing. My ass left the seat at least twice during this movie. It's crazy. I absolutely loved it. But it's a fantastic movie. Has a great score by Hans Zimmer. And Lady Gaga, I think, did some of the music in it too. She sang the song at the end. The love story in this one actually makes sense compared to the first movie where it's just kind of like, I'm going to be so nasty to you that you're going to fall in love with me kind of shit. What? This one actually like was thought out. And like the action scenes are fantastic. They did some cool stuff with having the cameras in the cockpits with the actors, so you can actually see the planes in the background. Because I don't think they used a lot of blue screen for this. They were actually in jets, stuff like. And it is really cool when you see it happen. But I absolutely loved it. It's great. I never thought I'd ever say this, but I can't wait for another Top Gun movie. Oh God, I actually own Top Gun on home video. I own a 3D version of it. For some reason, Paramount converted it to 3D and released it on Blu-ray, and I bought it at Half Price Books for like $5 or $6, and even put me to sleep there, like trying to watch it. Do you know how hard it is to fall asleep with the PlayStation VR headset on? I did it watching Top Gun in 3D. I fell asleep. Whatever. The day before I saw that in the theater, I forced myself to watch the entire movie on Paramount Plus, and I was just kind of like, the first half of that movie I cannot stand. Once Goose dies, spoilers, once Goose dies, I think the movie gets a little bit better, but it still never gets to what I would consider to be good. Yeah, I just, no. Let me see, what did I get that day? I got these 3 things. Oh, I got this too. Hang on 1 second, guys. Ah, shit. I can put that with this. Also picked up Nope on 4K. I love Get Out. I loved Get Out. That was one of my top films the year that came out. I thought it was fantastic. Great introduction to Jordan Peele as a filmmaker. He had a lot of stuff to say, obviously, and I think it's amazing. I was not that big of a fan of Us. I think like it was good until like the end because it just felt rushed and kind of silly. But Nope, I think, is a good return to form for Jordan Peele and I'm going to tell you guys right now, the trailers, I thought that they were spoiling the movie because they kept on showing that UFO. And I was like, why are you showing all the money shots in this movie? Trust me, they weren't, because, do you want me to say it? This is a sci-fi remake of Jaws. And it's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I have never seen Keke Palmer in anything. I know she was like a child star, but I never saw her in anything except this, and I really like her in this. I think she's got a lot of charisma. Daniel Kaluuya like that guy is absolutely fantastic. I will watch Daniel Kaluuya in anything. And the thing is like you see how he is in Black Panther, and then you see how he is in Get Out, and then you see how he is in this, and it's like looking at three totally different people, even though he looks exactly the same physically. It's the coolest. He is a great actor. I absolutely love him. If I ever made a movie, I would just call up Daniel Kaluuya's agent and be like, I just want to put him in my movie. Can I have him in my movie, please? Please. I just want to work with the guy because he's awesome. And it also has Stephen Yen from Walking Dead in it. It is a great sci-fi. I wouldn't really call it a horror movie, but it's like a sci-fi adventure-y drama, I guess. I absolutely loved it. It is one of my favorite movies of this year so far. I wish I saw this in 4D also, but I did not. I ended up going to see this when I realized that a theater near my work on Tuesdays plays every single movie. It doesn't matter if it's in 3D, if it's an IMAX, or it's standard or whatever, or it's in the luxury version of the theater that they have there where they actually serve you food while you're watching the movie. Every film on Tuesdays is $5. And I was like, oh, for $5? Like, I haven't seen Nope yet. Let's go check that. Holy shit, was I impressed. I was just like, this is awesome. And I watched this last week, and I still think it's fantastic. Got another Criterion collection that I pre-ordered, and I definitely did not want to cancel this one, and that is the original Night of the Living Dead, the one in black and white. I own a couple of movies in black and white that have been released in 4K, and they look fantastic. So I'm really curious what a movie that I think was filmed on like 16 millimeter or something. I remember it was filmed with really like low-grade film stock. Looks like in 4K. I cannot wait. But this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I think this is probably my second favorite in the Living Dead series that Romero made. But basically, this one is like they do the low-budget thing where it basically takes place in one location. It's like a bunch of people are holed up in a house while the zombie invasion is happening outside. And it's all about the people inside bickering and, being horrible people when something even worse is going on outside. They should be banding together to survive, and they're acting like a bunch of a-holes. So it's a fantastic movie. I absolutely love it. Cannot wait to watch it. It's still sealed, so I haven't done that yet. Let's see here. Those are Black Friday sales. That's a Black Friday. That's a Black Friday. I think that is from Sony. Those are box sets. The hell with it. Pre-ordered this one because it came in a special case, so I wanted to get it, special type of case. But I got the 35th anniversary 4K of The Running Man. This is probably one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I absolutely love it. It is like funny, has a ton of quotes, especially ones that I do in my Arnold voice a lot. It's like I said, it's funny. It's got tons of action in it. It's actually trying to say something. And a little bit is prophetic about how like people were going to watch television shows that hinge on people's suffering, and it would be entertaining. And we're doing that right now. We've got like, Survivor and all these stupid reality shows that everybody likes to watch. It hasn't gotten to the point where we're sending prisoners into a war zone to get killed by gladiators. But it's one of my favorite Arnold movies, and the reason I wanted to get it is it comes in a steelbook, because I'm a steelbook slut, and it has some pretty cool artwork on top of having like the big screen that all the people use to bet on who's going to win the Running Man game show in the movie. Absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. One of my favorites. And I watched this the day it showed up, and the transfer is absolutely fantastic. It is like a brand new movie. It looks like it was shot yesterday. It is so cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Sub-Zero. Now Plane Zero. I love that movie. Yeah, that was all Circus Maximus. Yeah. Those are all half price. Okay, so also picked up Fright Night, the original Fright Night. Got this steel book from Best Buy. I totally forgot that this was being released. How could I totally forget about the release of one of my favorite horror movies of all time? But yeah, I went to Best Buy and I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Give it to me. And I got the last steel book that they had. It has Jerry Dandridge like half transformed on the back. If you have not watched Fright Night, get off your ass and watch it. It is a fantastic vampire movie. It's like a vampire comedy. Kid realizes that his new next door neighbor is actually a vampire who's like killing local girls. And he takes it upon himself to try to stop him. And then when the vampire is like, no, dude, you ain't stopping shit, he kind of asks for the help of the local, like Joe Bob Briggs guy, a guy who hosts like a late night horror TV show where he where he plays like horror movies and comments on them before the commercial breaks and stuff like that, who claims to be a real life vampire hunter when actually he's just an actor. It's Peter Vincent, played by Roddy McDowell, who is amazing in this movie. And Chris Sarandon, if you've ever met him, I've seen interviews with him. He is the dorkiest, geekiest, like soft-spoken man ever, and he plays a great bad guy. He's like eating it up. He even says he didn't know why they cast him in this part, but the director obviously saw something in him, and he pulls it off like no one's business. He is good, really good, and it is fantastic. So I highly recommend you pick this up, and the transfer is absolutely fantastic. It comes with 3 discs, actually. It's got the movie on 4K, the movie on Blu-ray, and one Blu-ray that's nothing but special features. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And like I said, I got the last one at Best Buy. I was super thrilled about that. What else is there? What else? We'll talk about the Shout Factory stuff. So Shout Factory released a lot of stuff in October. Some of it wasn't horror related, like Platoon. I actually had this pre-ordered on Amazon, but this is one of the ones that I canceled. And I'm glad that I did, because I went to Best Buy like 3 weeks after this came out, and this had already been like discounted. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I didn't pay like the $30. I got this for like $20 instead. And Vietnam movie by Oliver Stone. It's got Charlie Sheen in it, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe, Johnny Depp is in it. It's got a bunch of stars before they were stars. And it's really dark and, moody. It'll get under your skin. It does. I know every time I watch this, I feel creeped out at times. There's like stuff that, like, when they show people doing like horrible things to each other in this, it just gets. But it's a fantastic movie. It's one of, I think, Oliver Stone's best films. This and Full Metal Jacket, great Vietnam movies. But they also released some horror stuff, and I got a bunch. Should I save those for later? Or should I? Yeah, why not? I picked up The Return of the Living Dead in 4K. This is one of the pre-orders that I kept, and this is one of my favorite zombie movies. It is a zombie comedy. It's kind of making fun of the Night of the Living Dead series. It's about a couple of guys who work like the late shift at a medical facility, like warehouse where they like keep like the supplies, like a supply warehouse for hospitals and stuff. And they happen to come across the zombie apocalypse because like an army convoy that's transporting like this toxic sludge. One of the barrels, what was it? Oh, the barrels are in the basement of the facility, and they accidentally open one of them, and the toxin gets out, goes into the air. It happens that it's right. The building is right next to a cemetery, and all the dead come out of the cemetery to start eating everybody. It's funny. It's fantastic. It's got a really cool soundtrack. It's all like punk music and some seriously funny lines by zombies. Like the zombies talk in this, the ones who actually have a larynx. And one of them like, woo, excuse me. I'm getting the snots. Woo. At one point, the lead characters call for an ambulance, and the ambulance shows up. The zombies eat all the paramedics. So one of the zombies hears the CB going off, from home base saying like, hey, do you guys need any assistance? How's it going over there? And one of the zombies hears it and like grabs the CB and just goes, send more paramedics. And I quote that all the time. It's super funny. It's got great performances. The makeup effects are great, and it's funny as all hell. So I had to have that. And also picked up Army of Darkness. This is like a 4-disc set that that Scream Factory released in October. This has so many cuts of the damn movie on it. It has the theatrical cut, which is the theatrical cut, on 4K, the theatrical cut on Blu-ray, the director's cut on Blu-ray, and the international cut on Blu-ray. There are multiple endings for this movie. There are multiple, the extended cut of it is like more. It's the jokes that are there already in the movie. There's just more of that joke, like the scene with Ash when he's being attacked by like the little miniature versions of him. That scene is longer. The scene in the cemetery where Ash is being attacked by all the skeletons and stuff when he reads from the book wrong. that scene is extended a little bit longer. The big action scene at the end where evil Ash is like trying to overtake the castle, that scene is a lot longer. A lot of that doesn't work. There's a reason why it was cut, because they needed to keep the jokes short because it kept repeating itself. But it's good to have them all here in one set and in 4K for the theatrical version, which I still think is the best version. And there's also the alternate ending, which is I think is very kind of silly. The one that's in the theatrical cut I think is the funniest of all of them. So I had to have that because Army of Darkness is one of my favorite movies. I love the Evil Dead franchise in general. And somebody's been like messaging me like crazy. Hang on one sec. Okay. Oh, what to talk about next? That's all Black Friday. Let's talk about the Black Friday stuff. Why not? So I had no intention of going anywhere for Black Friday, but I happened to go out to do some grocery shopping on Black Friday because I needed to do some grocery shopping. And on the way, I passed up a Best Buy by where I work, and I was like, let's go check it out. It was you. So yeah, I picked up a bunch of stuff. I also ordered some stuff off of Amazon that were deeply discounted. And then there's this big stack of things over here that are not Black Friday related, but they're all related to each other. So let's see. The first thing I picked up was Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. This is like the reboot of the Resident Evil film franchise that came out last November, I think. Probably should have released it in October. It's not that good. I saw it in the theater, and I was like, there's cool stuff in here that is right out of the video games. Like the opening of Resident Evil 2 with the truck is in here, and it is done really well and kind of creepy at times. And then there's like other stuff where it's like, what was that? What's going on? But the reason I picked this up was this was $5. And I wasn't going to pass it up. I wish I got one with the slipcase, but this has been out for a long time, so I didn't get it back then because I was not willing to pay full price for it. But as a Resident Evil fan and a video game fan, I felt that I needed to own this in my collection, even though I'm not that big of a fan of it. But whatever. Like I said, $5. It's got a decent cast, although I absolutely cannot stand who they cast as Leon and the way they wrote Leon. Leon is a bumbling fool in this. Bumbling. Like dopey. I don't get it. He's supposed to be kind of a badass. And I don't get it at all. It's like, we get all the other characters are badasses. We can't have them all be badasses. Yeah, you can. You really can. I also picked up Death on the Nile, which is the second Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie movie. The original one was Murder on the Orient Express. This one was delayed multiple times because of COVID. Finally came out earlier in the year. And totally missed seeing it in the theater, even though I saw Murder on the Orient Express in the theater. But I did catch it on HBO Max when they released it on that platform. And I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest. I don't think it's as good as Murder on the Orient Express. The special effects are kind of shitty. And a couple of the performances are a little but it's okay. And since I own the first one, I wanted to get the second one. And plus, this was like $7.50. So I said, yeah, you're damn right I'm buying it. So, and it had the slipcover. Like I said, this has been out for a while, and I still got the slipcover. So there's that. I got that one through Amazon. And the third movie I picked up while I was there is Bullet Train. Saw this in the theater in 4D, and it was awesome. It wasn't as good as Top Gun Maverick in 4D, but this one was pretty cool too because there's a lot of stuff involving the train that this movie takes place on. Moving around. When people step out of the train, like in the wind, as they're going along the tracks, so that you're getting hit in the face with like air. Whenever somebody would get slashed with a sword, and there was a blood spray, you would feel this like little splash of blood, like of water across your cheek, like it was blood. It's really cool the way they did it. And the movie's really fun and funny and clever in all the best ways, and I really liked it. It's like if you were to take Reservoir Dogs and mix it with John Wick and give it like a really weird, silly sense of humor. It's really fun. It has a great cast. I don't think it. Who does it say who's in here other than Brad Pitt? I forget. I know Woody Harrelson's in it. Oh, no, Sandra Bullock is in it. She plays Brad Pitt's handler. But it's really awesome. I highly recommend that one. It's one of my favorite films of this year also. It's probably on my top 10 list. And then these 3 I got from Amazon during Black Friday, and one of them is Reservoir Dogs. I was hesitant to buy this one because the last couple of my internet's doing that crazy thing again. You're plugged in. Why are you saying the Wi-Fi is bad? Whatever. I think I have 2 movies by Quentin Tarantino on 4K, and they don't look that great. I have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think Inglourious Bastards, and they don't look that great. But everyone keeps on saying in those YouTube channels that I've been watching that deal with 4K movies and stuff like that, like was it Movies at Home and Serial at Midnight, that this is an absolutely fantastic transfer. So I saw that it was on sale on Black Friday on Amazon's site, so I picked it up. And I was glad that I still got it with the slipcase, because when it comes to Amazon and these slip covers, like, you can buy a movie 2 weeks after its release and it will not come with this at all. You'll just get this, which makes no sense. And this has been out for a little while, and I managed to get it with the slipcover. I did think I was going to send this back because there's a steelbook version of this that was released, I think, to Best Buy. Because all these ones by Lionsgate, they usually have like a steelbook that's exclusive to Best Buy. And the Best Buy steelbook is the only thing that's on the cover is the side of that cop's head that the main characters have captured. And when you pull the slipcover off, he's missing an ear, and there's blood running down his side of his face. And I was like, that's awesome. Just like those other ones that I have, like the Angel Heart and Cabin in the Woods and Universal Soldier. They have those really cool slipcovers that do things when you remove the slipcover, and it's a steel book underneath. So they didn't have it, sadly, but, whatever. Can't have everything. But I'm just glad that I own the movie. And this was like $10, I think, so I wasn't going to pass that up. It's an awesome crime movie. What are you doing, computer? It's trying to tell me, like, oh, your Adobe is out of date. And I got these 2 sets on Black Friday because of discounts. So I've been trying to buy. I've been wanting to buy these for a long time, but I was not willing to pay what was being asked for them. But I got the Godfather trilogy on 4K. This is the 50th anniversary set. And the thing about this one that made me want it over the previous Blu-ray set of these 3 movies that I had was, instead of the theatrical cut of Godfather 3, which everyone knows is like the worst movie in this franchise, it's bad. What's his name? Francis Ford Coppola went back and like re-edited it. He's been like messing with it for a couple of years to try to get it to the best point where it could possibly be. Because from what I remember reading, Part 3 was like rushed to theaters for Christmas the year that it came out, so it could get an Oscar nomination if it was considered good enough, and it didn't. So he's been like trying to re-edit it. So the new edit of the 3rd film is called... It's not even called The Godfather Part 3 anymore. It's called The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. Okay, I'm glad that it still looks okay. And I've been wanting to buy that, but I didn't want to buy it separately. I was like, if I'm going to buy that one in 4K, because they've been selling that one separately for a while. They've been selling all of these separately, but I would rather just have the big box set. Plus, it comes with a bonus disc, that a bunch of them, I think. Obviously, it says discs. That is plural. So, yeah, all 3 films, the best version of the 3rd movie. I cannot wait to sit down and finally watch that, and actually watch all of these probably in a row. It's going to be like watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended edition. It's going to take up an entire day because these are long-ass films, but I absolutely love them. And then I also picked up in 4K the Matrix series. This is the 4-film Deja Vu collection. So I had a box set that had all 3 of the original films in it on Blu-ray, and then I had bought Resurrections, the newest one, in 4K. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to buy this, there's a set, I think, of all of these, of the trilogy, the original 3 in 4K, and then have the 4th movie separate. But I don't think they're going to be making another one because the 4th one bombed. So I think this is going to be the definitive set on 4K. So I picked this one up, and it has all 4 movies. You got the original, Reloaded, Revolutions, and Resurrections. And I like the first 3. The 4th one is like hit or miss with me, but I'm just glad to have all 4 of them in 4K in one set. I've been meaning to buy that for a long time, but I bought Resurrections separately, and I was just kind of like, do I really want to do that and like repurchase it again? Yeah, because I like these movies that much. It's not the definitive box set. Well, you know what? Let's see if it's in the bonus features. It doesn't say anything on the back. Let's open this thing up and see what's up. Peter's got a point. Because I do like the Animatrix quite a bit. Talk amongst yourselves. Will I peel this beast open? There we go. I'm glad I opened it. This is like got some loose discs in it. God damn. So Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, Matrix Resurrections. Oh, it has them on Blu-ray too. Okay, well, what's on the damn Blu-rays? Is there a list here I can go to? That would be nice. And maybe if the... Oh, I can't even read that. Look at that font. I can't even read that. That is so damn tiny. Well, Peter, I'll have to get back to you on that because I'm going to have to pop in the Blu-rays and see if the Animatrix is actually on that or not. So we shall find out later. Today you put Garland up at work. Oh, God. I have the Animatrix soundtrack, though. And then the last stuff I have in the way of movies is this monstrosity. So because of Halloween being last month, I was in a Halloween mood. And I don't mean Halloween Ends. That was trash. I'm talking the original films. And Scream Factory has been releasing all of the original 8 movies on 4K. I don't think they have any plans to release the Rob Zombie movies in 4K, but I don't want to own those anyway. I had a big box set of the Blu-rays that had all 8 of the original films and then plus the 2 Rob Zombie ones in it. I don't give a crap about the Rob Zombie movies. I hate them. And I only really care about the original 8. I don't like the new trilogy that they made with, old-ass Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Grandpa Myers. I hate those 3 films. I only want the original 8. And those have been re-released in 4K. And from what I understand, they all have fantastic transfers. I've only watched a handful of them, and I do admit they look amazing. So I have bought them all. For some reason, they released the first 5 earlier in the year, all separately. They didn't come in a box set. They didn't come connected. But they also released 2 different, packaging types. So I went on Amazon and I ordered the first 5. Those were all of the ones that were available, right? And I ordered all of them from... I ordered all 5 from Amazon. Yes, I did. I can't even remember. I ordered all 5 from Amazon. I returned one of them because of the way this shit worked. So they came in a regular old slipcase like this. It's just, the movie with a little cheap cardboard slipcover, right? Those are the ones I was always seeing at Best Buy whenever I would go there. Turns out they're also releasing them in these hard boxes that you take the movie out on the side instead of out of the top. These are premium packaging, I guess. So I ordered the first 5 from Amazon, and the first ones that showed up were the original Halloween, Halloween 2, and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. The only thing was Halloween 2 and 3 showed up with that big, thick outer box. Halloween 2 and 3, derp. Halloween 2 and 3. Halloween 1 showed up in the standard slipcase packaging like this. And, I can be a little OCD when it comes to certain things. And I'm sitting there going I don't want these misshapen things in the same franchise on my shelf because it's distracting to me. So I returned the Halloween that I got from them and I ordered, pardon me. And I ordered this one off of Amazon, I ordered this one off of eBay from some guy. And it was actually cheaper than the one that I got off of Amazon, which I thought was funny. I had also ordered 4 and 5, and 4 was going to take 2 months to ship for some reason. So I got sick of it after about 2 weeks. I'm sitting there going like, all the other ones have shown up. I'm still waiting for number 4. I'm going to be waiting a whole month. I'm like, the hell with this. I canceled my order, and then I ordered it off of eBay instead. And that was where I got Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. But I also did get Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers off of Amazon when I ordered all of them at once. So I have Halloween 1 through... I can't even put them in numerical order. I'm that tired. I've got Halloween 1 through 5 in these really hard cases. You can see here the way they slip out. And that is thick. I mean, you hear how thick that is? These are not getting damaged. And I've watched all 5. No, I've watched 4 of these. I've watched 2 of them. I haven't watched 1 or 2 yet, but I've watched 3, 4, 5, and some of these other ones over here that you're going to see in a second. And these 3 look fantastic. I absolutely love the first Halloween. I really like the second one, even though it's like the exact opposite of what the first one was. The first one makes you use your imagination when it comes to the killing, because there's no blood in that movie. I mean, he does kill people, but you never see it actually happen. There's no blood splashes, no nothing like that. It's all happening in your face, but there's no blood. It's like what you think is really happening is more gruesome than what is actually happening in that movie, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But part 2 is just covered in blood. It's going all over the place. And then you have part 3, which is the one where Michael Myers isn't in it because they killed him at the end of part 2. And John Carpenter was trying to make like an anthology Halloween series out of the franchise. Every year he was going to release another Halloween-themed horror movie at Halloween. But this one bombed so hard that it canceled the whole idea out in one movie. But I absolutely love it. If this wasn't called Halloween 3, it was just called Season of the Witch, I think it would have been, it'd still be more well-regarded than it is right now. But it is considered a cult classic. I love it. I think it's great. And then there's part 4 where they resurrected Michael Myers in a decent way, I guess. This one's okay to me. There's a lot of stupid shit going on in it, too, and I'm kind of like, eh. But, it's definitely better than Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This is one of the worst movies in the franchise, as far as I'm concerned. Has some of the single most annoying characters in a horror movie ever, namely Tina. She's like the new, final girl kind of thing going on, or at least the lead in this movie for a little while, played by, Wendy Kaplan. She is a terrible actress, and she is so grating on the nerves. Like, I count the seconds until she is killed. I cannot wait to see her get killed. That's how annoying she is. She's horrible. Like, why did they cast her? And the movie's just stupid, too. Like, whenever these 2 cops show up for investigational things, they have clown music that they play over it when they're like, the do 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 whoop kind of shit that plays whenever they show up. I don't know what was going on with that. So I was like, I'm not waiting 2 months for that. So I canceled it. And then, just after I had ordered those, Scream Factory released a box set that has the 3 remaining films in it. Why they didn't release a box set with the first 5, I don't know, but they released a box set with this. Probably because they knew that if they released all 3 of these movies separately, the only one that would sell would be H2O or H20. No one's going to want to buy The Curse of Michael Myers or Resurrection because they are terrible. But, so they decided to package them all together. The cool thing is, though, what's it called? Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, is a 5? This is a 4-disc set, too. This one has multiple cuts of the movie on it. So the story behind this one was the movie was originally titled Halloween 666, The Origin of Michael Myers. During production, the name got changed. They didn't want to put 666. There's actually trailers out there. You look them up on YouTube. They're there. Of it being called Halloween 666, The Origin of Michael Myers. But like I said, when they had finished filming the movie, it got renamed to Halloween. They took the number out of it and called it The Curse of Michael Myers. But they had released the original cut of the movie. And they showed like a screening, or they had like a screening of it for like a test screening. And people were like confused by it. Because Daniel Farrens, who wrote this, tried to make sense of that Thorn crap that they introduced in Halloween 5 with that stupid cowboy that breaks Michael Myers out of prison, which is the dumbest shit ever, and make sense of all this cult stuff that they introduced in that movie. And honestly, that version is on this set. That is now called Halloween. It's called Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And it's also known as the producer's cut. That's my preferred version of the movie. It makes sense. sort of. It's still kind of dumb. But it's way better than what we got in the theaters, because when that test screening went bad, they went back and like cut out half the movie and reshot half of it, inserted more gore for the sake of gore. Like one of the characters gets electrocuted in the movie. He's standing in water. He gets thrown up against an electrical panel. He gets electrocuted. He dies. That's in that producer's cut. Now in the theatrical cut, the one that we saw in the theaters, the guy gets thrown up against the electrical panel in the water and his head explodes. Because sure. There's a scene where in the cult catacomb thing at the end of the movie, all of a sudden there's like a lab down there full of people mixing chemicals for some reason. Why are they there? I don't know. It's never explained, but it's just there because Michael needs more people to kill, because he just goes on a murder rampage in that room. And then people start beating him upside the head with pipes, and he starts bleeding green. What? I don't understand this. It's confusing. They probably will not go to 8K for most of this stuff. I don't think a lot of people said that there will not be anything past 4K when it comes to like physical media. This is probably the last of it. Yeah, I'm getting pulled in again too. As you can see, I'm still talking about all these movies. Yeah, the theatrical cut is terrible. I saw it in the theater. I absolutely hated it. My brother saw it like twice. I think he said he really liked it back then, but now he's like, no. But the producer's cut is the way to go. It has it up here featuring both the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. And they are both remastered in 4K, which is awesome. So when this showed up, that was the first thing I watched, the producer's cut in 4K, and it looks great for, footage that was left on the cutting room floor. They managed to make it look brand spanking new. And the coolest thing about this movie is this was Paul Rudd's first movie. His first movie ever. And he is so freaking young and baby-faced in it. It's hard to believe it's freaking Ant-Man. But my favorite movie in this series, or in this box set, is H20, 20 years later. This is the first movie in the series to erase everything that happened after part 2. So according to this movie, it's Halloween, Halloween 2, and then this movie. The 3, 4, 5, and 6 never happened. And then the new trilogy that just finished with Halloween Ends did the exact same thing. It's just erasing everything after the original movie. None of those happened according to those movies. Fuck those movies. This is the only one that matters to me. H20 is the one that brought Jamie Lee Curtis back. And it's about her like final fight with Michael Myers. And in the first movie, they kind of talk about, what was it? When Jamie Lee Curtis's character, when Laurie Strode is sitting in class, they're talking about some book, and I do not remember what the name of the book was, but it turned out to be about, like, the theme that they were talking about in classroom was the fate of the character that they were discussing. And it was like fate that Michael Myers was going to hunt her and her friends that night. This one, Jamie Lee Curtis is the teacher, and Michelle Williams is one of her students, and they're talking about the book Frankenstein and how it was fate that Frankenstein was going to have to stand, or finally like take a stand against the person that's tormenting him, which is his monster. His monster's been killing all of his family and friends and all that, and his fiance or his wife. And now it's time that he took a stand against him, like in the end of the story. And that's exactly what happens here. Like, Michael's been torturing Laurie mentally for the last 20 years because, just the thought of him still being out there is, driving her crazy to the point where she's like a fully functioning alcoholic. And this is the movie where she finally says, you know what, fuck this. I'm taking a stand and I'm gonna end this. And I think it's a great movie. It's really well made. It's a little short, but it's not about the gore like the other movies in the franchise, where it's more about telling the story and making sure that you get some closure, and you definitely do, until this back alley abortion called Resurrection happens, where they found a loophole in the ending of H20 that they can use to resurrect Michael again, and it is the dumbest shit ever. This is the movie where Busta Rhymes says "trick or treat, motherfucker" to Michael Myers, and then beats the shit out of him by doing kung fu, and lives. It is terrible. It has Starbuck from the new Battlestar Galactica, Katie Sackhoff. She's annoying as hell in this. Pretty much every actor in this movie is annoying as hell. It's about a bunch of people who are hired for like a webcast reality show where they're going to spend a night in Michael Myers' house. And it turns out Michael Myers, that's his home. He went back there after the events of H20 and is like, you people are on my property. You're all going to die. It's like, really? Really? That was the idea you decided to use to bring Michael Myers back? You should have just left it off at H20, because that's the classy way to end the franchise. H2O, it's supposed to be H20 because the subtitle is 20 years later. It's supposed to be Halloween 20, years later. I used to call it H2 all the time. I still catch myself catching it H2 all the time, but it's supposed to be H20. But, okay, and that's it for the films. Finally, right? Just wait until I get back into doing the movie collection live streams. Woo-wee! Now we can get into games. Okay, so I don't have a lot of retro stuff to talk about. I did buy one thing. Did not expect to ever get this. Found it at, I think the place was called Nerding Out in Minnesota. It was the first place that Church took me and Jason to. He took me there last year when I visited. I never bought anything there because it was mostly comic books and action figures and not a whole lot of video games. And the same could be said when I went there this year. But while I was checking out, because I bought an action figure for a friend of mine as a gift, while I was checking out, they have like these clear glass cabinets at the front, you know, so you can look at some expensive things that you could possibly buy while you're checking out. And I happen to look down and I see this thing sitting there. I'm like, is that what I think it is? And Josh is like, what do you mean? I was like, I just talked about the first game in this series in one of my short videos that I had released. If you remember the shorts that I've done, the one about the import, you know, the Super Famicom games you need to own. One of the games I talked about in that video, this is the sequel. And I was like, I did not even know that existed. And it is funny that I had just recently released that episode and then I find this sequel a couple of weeks later. And I'm like, it was meant to be. It was meant to be here for me to buy it because fate. Call back to Michael Myers. What's up, Yutsumi? H2O or H20. H2O. Yeah, it's supposed to be H20. Oh, why am I taking it out? So the game I'm talking about here, it's a Nintendo 64 game, but it's an import Nintendo 64 game. And it is, let me get my phone first so I can read it because it's part of it. The title is in Japanese. And I haven't logged into my phone already. Give me 1 second, everybody. Nintendo 64. There it is. This is Wonder Project J2 Corlo no Mori no Josette. So Wonder Project J was one of the games I talked about in that Super Famicom short. And it's like a point-and-click adventure where you're playing as this boy, and he's like a robot, and you tell him how to interact with the backgrounds. And I think it's supposed to use the Super Nintendo mouse that you got with Mario Paint. And it's really well made, and it's fun, and it's cute, and all that kind of stuff. But I had no clue that there was a sequel made for the Nintendo 64. We never got this over here. It's an import from Japan. So I saw it sitting in that case, and I was like, is that what I think it is? And Jason looks at it and goes, what is it supposed to be? And I'm like, I think that's a sequel to Wonder Project J. And he goes, oh, yeah, I think you need it. And, of course, he became an enabler, brother. A life and death rail shooter game? No, it is not. And what got me was, I go, can I take a look at that to make sure it's complete before I consider buying it to the lady that was behind the counter? She goes, yeah, sure. So she gives it to me. I open it up, and, yep, it has the manual, and it's all in Japanese. And it even has, like, the registration cards and stuff. I don't think anybody has used this. It is, like, pristine manual. It comes with the original, you know, cardboard backing. But why is this box so big, is what you're probably asking yourself. Well, it comes with the cartridge, which is still wrapped. And it also comes with, which is still bagged. I'm taking it out of the bag so I can show it to you guys. A memory card. Just for this game, because I'm assuming that this takes up so much memory that it needs its own memory card, which they have provided for you, thankfully. Thank you, whoever developed this game. I don't know your name because you're in Japanese. So that is awesome. And when I opened it up, because I was really curious about why this came in such a big box, because I've seen the Nintendo 64 game boxes. I don't think they're normally this large. And the moment I started to pull that cardboard up and I saw the memory card, I went, and Jason's like, you definitely need to have that now. And I was like, I think you're right. It's so cool. So I'm assuming this is another point-and-click adventure game. If you look at the back, it looks very much like the original game. It's just better graphics, obviously, because you're on a Nintendo 64. So I was like, you know what? It's coming home with me. Give it to me, lady. And she was like, good. I'm glad it's going to a home where someone can appreciate it. I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying in this game. I probably won't be able to play it because there are no emulator machines that use Nintendo 64 and have translation patches out there that I could use. So, yeah, that's basically lost on me until someone releases something like that I could play on. Woo! So there's that. Let me see. What did I get from Jason and what did I get for Black Friday? Okay, so we'll go into the stuff that Jason gave me first. Let me just take a look at these from the side. Okay, so he gave me that. He gave me that. He gave me that and that and that and those. I think that's it. Okay. So, in the way of games that I got from Jason, he gave me C12 Final Resistance on the original PlayStation. I knew nothing about this game. It looks like a Resident Evil style game, like a survival horror. No clue. He just gave this to me because he probably got a duplicate in one of his travels because he manages to find lots of games whenever he was delivering pizzas for Domino's. Like the people on his route that would normally order pizzas that he would be delivering, they would normally tip him with games. And he would just get like stacks and stacks of them. And then he'd always be like, do you need any of these? Because I'm going to set aside the stuff that are duplicates. And if neither you or church want any of them, I'm just going to sell them somewhere or turn them in somewhere. So this must have been one that he got. He didn't even say that he was bringing this for me, but he did give it to me. So I'm pleased because I like Resident Evil survival horror style games. So why not? From the creators of the critically acclaimed Medieval series, but it looks like a horror game. Okay, whatever. Not mad. You do sometimes. Shining Force CD, probably. Yep. I think it's just because like those memory cards for the Nintendo 64, they weren't that big anyway. Weren't there like 20 megabytes or something or 30 megabytes? So I can imagine that like the choices that you are making in that point and click adventure games, you're making the decisions for the main character. It's got to remember all those choices that you've made. So that's probably why he needs its own memory card. He also gave me this for the PlayStation 2. It's called Seek and Destroy. And I knew nothing about this either. And it looks like a tank game. That's all I can see. Like the middle picture like shows you like there's a tank in front of the camera. So I'm assuming this is just a vehicular combat game that's military themed. So I knew nothing about this. He just handed this over to me and I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Sure. And it looks brand new. I mean, that manual is like pristine. Like no one has even touched it except for me. The outside box looks a little bit abused. He also gave me, I'm surprised by this, but he gave me Guitar Hero Live for the 360. I don't play Guitar Hero. My music rhythm game was Rock Band. I started off with Guitar Hero. That's where that whole thing started, was Guitar Hero on the PlayStation 2. But I think I can actually use my instruments because I only play these games on the Xbox consoles. So I have most of the Rock Band games that are available for the 360 there, and then I have Rock Band 4 for the Xbox One. So all my instruments are for the 360, and I think I can use them on this one. And it also comes with this like dongle that you plug into a USB port, and I think it was supposed to come with it originally. What is that? An install disc? Game disc? Install. Oh, there's an install disc. Ooh. Yeah, this is to hook up like the controllers or something like that, I guess. Does it say what that's for? I don't know. I can't even read what songs are on here because the font in that blue section is so damn small. Couldn't tell you. But when I opened this up, I was like, what the hell is this? And Jason's like, I think this is for the controller. I was like, oh, that's cool that it still came with it. Usually that would be missing, but whatever. I was happy about that because I love me a good rhythm game. And then he gave me all of these. For the Xbox One, he gave me Need for Speed Rivals. I had no idea he was going to give me this. This is probably one of the duplicates that he got. Can't talk. Racing game, I guess. I have not played it yet, so I can't really comment. But I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I guess that's in my collection now. I'm not mad. It's free, and I like a racing game once in a while to mix things up with me playing action games and stuff like that all the time. He also gave me a brand new copy of Code Vein, which is an RPG, I think. Yeah, it's an RPG. Everyone tells me this one's pretty cool. So I was super thrilled that he gave me this. Like I said, still sealed. And I knew about 2 of these games that he gave me. One for the PS3. He gave me a copy of Rambo, the video game. He had gotten this as one of his backlog roulette games on the Super Enabler Brothers podcast. And he said it was okay, but because I guess the game is designed to be played with the Move controller in like a gun formation. Like there's that Move controller thing for the PlayStation 3 for gun games. And it's like a big gun controller. I have it in the other room. This is meant to be played like that because it's like a shooter where you're playing as Rambo. Obviously, it's a Rambo game. But for some reason, it doesn't work very well. Like it glitches out during the final stage, so he couldn't play it right, and he was struggling the whole time. And he said it's fun, but like he got angry at it at the end. But this game is one of the ones that became super expensive during COVID for the PlayStation 3 when we had that big rise in prices for PlayStation 3 games when Sony said that they're going to close the online store for the PS3. So luckily, before that happened, Jason had accidentally gotten a second copy of this, and he was like, I'll just hold on to it for you. You can have it when we meet up finally. So he gave it to me. Yay. Super thrilled that I have that in my collection because licensed games. Why not? And then I knew that he was going to give me Rage 2 on the PlayStation 4 because he texted me. He's like, hey, I'm at Walmart, and they have like a big bin of discounted games that are like $5 each. Do you have Rage 2 yet? And I was like, no, I don't. I have the first one, but I haven't bought the second one. He's like, don't buy it. I got you. So yeah, I guess this is another like open world adventure game like the first one is in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, kind of like Mad Max. I enjoyed what I played in the first Rage, so I'm excited about this. I can finally play that. And then he also gave me this, which I knew nothing about. It's called Indivisible. It's brand new. It's still sealed. I think he got an extra copy. He said he got an extra copy of this from Amazon by accident. Like, I guess like the first package didn't show up on time, and they actually contacted him to say, hey, we realized that this package might be lost. We're going to send you a replacement. And then he said the day that the replacement showed up, the one that he had originally ordered showed up too. And they never asked for it back. So he was like, he just set it aside for me. And I think this is a beat 'em up. It says, okay, RPG action and platforming collide as you explore a vast hand-painted world. Hand-drawn 2D art and animation fused with intense real-time battles. Sure, okay, whatever. I'm cool with that. So, got it for free. Can't complain. And then everything else is stuff that I have purchased. So let's talk about what I bought when I was in Minnesota. Not that. Not those. Not those. I got that. I got that. I got that. And the rest of those are not. Okay, so we went to Nerding Out. The only game I bought there was the Wonder Project J2. And then he took me to another store. Hey, Justin, what was the name of the second store you guys took me to last time I visited? There was Nerding Out, then there was another game store that they sell like Pokemon cards and shit in the back. And then you guys took me to your store that you worked at. They made an error in my favor like that too a couple of times, Peter, but then they always called me on it for some reason. Like with the John Wick game. Punch Out? Yeah, Punch Out. They got yelled at by the owner. Jason and Josh did when I was there. Or Jason and Church. I'll tell you about it when I get there. Okay, so the stuff I bought there was... I went through my Xbox 360 collection because I'm running out of space. I actually have run out of space on that shelving unit. And I was like, what games do I have for the 360 that I would rather have on the PS3? Because I have plenty of room on my PS3 shelf. I was like, what would I rather have over there? Because I don't really play my 360 all that often. And there was a couple of games in like some franchises that I was like, I'd rather have those on the PS3. So I picked up The Darkness. And it's a first-person action horror game where you play as this guy. I think he's been possessed by a demon, if I remember right. And he has like these two snake-like creatures that come out of his shoulder blades, and you can attack with them. And it's pretty cool. It's based on a comic book. I also picked up the sequel, the limited edition of The Darkness 2, which is more of the same. I also wanted to get all of the Dead Space games on the PS3 instead of the Xbox 360. Because for some reason, when I was playing the Dead Space games on the Xbox, the controller got on my nerves for some reason, like hurt my hands. So I got the limited edition of Dead Space 2. And this was an awesome game. I played through this on the 360. I absolutely loved it. They had a copy of the first game there. They had multiple copies, but it looked like they were either severely sun-bleached or someone wiped their ass with the discs. Like, they looked scratched as shit. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'll just buy this. I'll get 1 and 2 elsewhere. I also picked up Lord of the Rings Conquest, which is a real-time strategy game, I do believe. Save Middle-earth or destroy it. This is, I think, one of the final Lord of the Rings games I needed to complete, like, the set for this generation of consoles. I think this is the final one I needed. So I found it there. Thankfully, I've been looking for it for a long time, and it was not expensive at all, so I picked it up. That's my Pandemic. That's awesome. And they also had some PS5 games that I was interested in, one of which was Chris Tales, which is, I do believe, a beat-em-up? Or I don't know. It doesn't say on here. Experience past, present, and future simultaneously in this love letter to classic JRPGs. Okay, so it's an RPG. It was dirt cheap. This was like $10 or something. So I was like, oh, for $10, you bet your ass I'm buying it. And I think Church had played this, and he was like, it's actually pretty cool. Either Church or Jason had played this. I don't remember which. But, yeah, I picked that one up. Yeah, I wasn't. I was in the back of the store looking at the PS3 games. Jason and Church were in the front of the store right by the register looking at, like, the big glass case in the front where all the expensive stuff is. And, like, Jason, I think it was mostly Jason. Jason just kept saying fucking this and fucking that and fucking a fucking a fuck. And they didn't hear it because Jason was talking so loud. They didn't hear the guy, but I heard him in the back, and I started cracking up. The guy just goes, language! And I started laughing. And then, like, when we were leaving, I was like, you guys got yelled at. You guys got yelled at. Like, teasing them. They're looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you didn't hear the guy that owns the store yelling at you guys to stop cursing? I was laughing so hard, dude. And the fact that they didn't even hear it. And the other one, the last game I picked up there for the PS5 was Call of Duty Vanguard. I've been wanting to buy this for a long time because I hear the campaign is actually pretty decent for this one, but it's still full price everywhere I go. And this was like $25. So I was like, yeah, you're damn right I'm buying this for $25. I have never seen this that cheap. So it's mine now. Yeah, was there a kid in the store? I think there was a kid in the arcade in the front. And that was the only kid that was in the store. There was a kid playing like one of the arcade games when you first walk in, and I think that was it. But like, I just think it was funny that they were Jason was talking so loud he drowned out the guy that yelled at him. I was laughing. I was laughing so hard, dude. This is all the stuff that I got elsewhere. This is all Black Friday stuff, I think. Yes, that's all Black Friday. Okay, so these are the games that I picked up elsewhere. Picked up randomly. I think two of these I got in October, and the rest I picked up this month. This one I got off of eBay. Nintenjoel, my buddy Nintenjoel. He streams all the time on Twitch. Follow him. He is funny. He's one of the nicest guys. He's really good at RPGs, and he streams them from beginning to end. Right now, he's streaming Bloodstained, and it got me into wanting to play Bloodstained, so now I'm playing that currently, as well as another new game I'll talk about here in a minute. Go follow him on Twitch. He's awesome. He did a pickup video on YouTube, and he was talking about like some PS3 games that he had got, and I was like, what is this one? That is the dumbest name for a game ever. I think I need to own it. And I do believe it is an RPG. Yeah, it's an RPG. It's by Atlas, and it's not super expensive. It's called Tears to Tiara 2. Tears to Tiara 2. Heir of the Overlord. And there is no part 1 available for a home console. I think this is a computer. The original was a computer game. Never got a port. And this one is the sequel to that. And it's like kind of adult themed according to Nintenjoel. He says there's some stuff in here that would be considered racy. But it's rated T for teen, so I don't think it can't be that bad. But yeah, it's an RPG, a JRPG, and he says it's actually really cool. So he got me interested in it, so I picked it up. Cool to have that. I Also picked up for the PS4 from Limited Run Games. I finally got my copy of Castlevania Requiem. Am I missing a game? Is this the only game that I got from them in that order? 1 second, guys. I need to check something. Talk amongst yourselves, because I think I left a game out. Yep, I did leave a game out. Shit. I'll be right back. I need to go grab something else. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in less than 20 seconds. I knew I got 2 games in this shipment. These the PSP version of that game? Oh, that's kind of stinky. Or whatever. This one has Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood on it. I have Rondo of Blood for the Turbo CD or the PC Engine CD, but it's in Japanese and German for some reason. But I do have Castlevania Chronicles on the PSP, so if that is the version that's on here, that's kind of sad. I would hope it would be the original version that I can actually, have in English. But also, it has Symphony of the Night, which I've never played through all the way, so now I can get achievements for playing it. Great Metroidvania. So we'll see how that works out. I need to play through these. I'm kind of in a Metroidvania mood. That's why I'm playing through Bloodstained right now. I'm like, watching Nintendo stream that got me back in a Metroidvania mood because I had so much fun playing The Mummy Remastered or Demastered last December. And I've been like wanting to play another Metroidvania, but I kind of like, I don't know if I want to put the time in for something like that. I just want to just play something straightforward. But watching Nintendo stream Bloodstained, I was like, I need to play that. I've had that for so long, and I've never popped it in. I need to do it, and I'm having a blast playing it. It is so good. Am I getting Callisto Protocol? No, I don't buy the PS5 games full price. I refuse to pay $70 for a game. I can wait. The only time I've done it is one of the games I'm going to talk about in a bit. But I refuse to pay $70 for a game. So the other game that I got in my shipment with Castlevania is Windjammers 2, which is a sequel to a SNK Neo Geo game. I don't know if this actually came out on the Neo Geo at all. I don't remember ever hearing about a second game in Windjammers series. But I like it enough that I wanted to have it. It's basically like you're playing Pong. But instead you're in an arena, kind of like a tennis court, and you are throwing Frisbees at each other and trying to get the Frisbee past the other player to hit the wall behind them to score a point. And it's really fast-paced and fun. It's a great multiplayer game. There's multiple characters to choose from. They each have their own attributes and stuff like that. So, and this has online play, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, I was super interested in this. I absolutely love the original, so I had to get that. You can unlock Symphony of the Night and Symphony of the Nightception. Nice. And then I saw at least 3 people in like different Facebook groups that I'm in talk about this game being like this sleeper hit that nobody knows about. And then Movie Tom Reinert, who we hung out with Justin and with Yumi in church last November when I visited you guys. He talked about this game on Facebook and talked about beating it and how it was like super fun. And then it starts showing up in my feed on Amazon, like, people who have bought things that you've bought also have bought in this game. And I was like, you know what? Fine. It was like $10. So I bought a copy of Marsupilami Hoob Adventure. So I know Marsupilami. It used to be a Disney cartoon in the 90s. And it turns out it's actually based on like a French comic book. And Disney licensed the character so they can make an animated show about it. But at some point, Disney lost the license. And that's why this is not Disney branded. That's probably why this also came out as like a lower priced game. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, Disney lost the license to that? Okay, good for them. I don't have to give them more of my money. But it's supposed to be supposedly a really good side-scrolling platformer. And it's not just like for kids. Like adults can enjoy it too. And it's very fun and easy. And stop freaking texting me. Jesus Christ, guys. I'm streaming tonight. So it was dirt cheap, like I said. So I picked up a copy. And then I was talking about this. I recorded a new episode of the Super Neighbor Brothers with Jason the other night, and when I brought this up as one of my pickups, he was just like, I didn't even know that existed. I was like, well, neither did I. And all of a sudden, everybody started talking about it online. So I had to get a copy of that. I can't wait to play through it. From what I understand, it's not that long, and it's really easy, and you get some easy achievements. So why not? It looks cute. Supposedly, it's like a little tiger, a little cheetah guy that has like a super long tail like a whip. And I remember the cartoon being a thing back in the day, but I never actually watched it because I wasn't watching cartoons back then. And then the last game that I have bought that didn't have anything to do with Black Friday is Bayonetta 3. When I was at Best Buy and I bought some of these movies. I don't remember which ones. It might have been when I bought Fright Night. I picked this up. And I was like, it was full price, and I try not to buy the games when they're brand new and full price, but I really want to play this. I played the other two games, and they're really fun. I've never actually beat any of them. I need to get off my ass and do that. I have 1 and 2 for the Wii U currently, and I hear they're two of the best versions of it, I guess. So really excited about part 3, regardless of the controversy of the voice actors not wanting to come back and then trying to start all kinds of drama and stuff. Stop! Oh my God, phone. Jason, killing me. Yep, it's Jason. Silence das phone. Boobies! I got the controversial Bayonetta 3. I almost burped while I was taking a drink. I could have died. It would have been a snuff video you're watching. What's up, Denver Gamer? Welcome, welcome. Got the controversy. Yep. What's up, handsome? I don't know, man. So I can't wait to try this one out. I should probably beat the other two first, like I said. And then there's what I picked up on Black Friday. So I try not to go out on Black Friday. I did when I got those movies, but like I said, I was on the way somewhere else, and I was like, oh, there's a Best Buy. Maybe I should stop and see what's up. And yeah, of course I spent some money. I usually just do it online, and I got some cool stuff. Let's start with the oldest stuff. So I picked up the Nio collection. This one I haven't taken a picture of yet. This one showed up Monday afternoon. So this has new ports of Nio and Nio 2, which are beat 'em ups by, what is it? Team Ninja. So this is going to be absolute craziness. So it's going to be like a crazy 3D beat 'em up with swords and violence and whatnot. I love that kind of stuff. I never actually played the PS4 versions of this, so that's perfect for this. And I got this dirt cheap. I think this was like $20. I never usually bought movies at $60 either. I always waited. No death until the D&D campaign. Yeah. The amount of work I've put into this shit, I better die after I'm done with that. I never buy them brand new. I always wait. I'm cheap like that. Like, I don't think any game is worth $70. Except this one. Because I just could not help myself. I also picked this up. I think this was $20, and it is Tormented Souls. It's a survival horror game, and I think it was Church who told me that this one is kind of fantastic. And I know a bunch of my friends have been buying this or had bought this like when it was new. I think this also came out on the PS4. That might be where all the other people I know played it. But when I saw the PS5 version was on discount, I was like, yeah, just give it to me. And I don't know anything about it other than it's a survival horror game. It looks like it even has the same organizational setup as a Resident Evil game. So we shall see. I might stream that. I'm getting back into streaming, guys. So I might be streaming that one. I also picked up Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. So if you've ever played World of Darkness, it's a tabletop RPG like Dungeons & Dragons. I played it a couple of times with some friends back in the late 2000s. I actually played from the Vampire the Masquerade source book. My character was a vampire. We had werewolf. We had 2 werewolves, technically a were-tiger, and a werewolf in our group. We had a fae. What what else did we have? We had a Fae and something else. I can't remember. There's another source book. There was the Frankenstein source book, but anyone who has a Frankenstein character in their group, there's like negative consequences to all those characters if there was one of them in your party. So our DM decided that we're forbidden to use that book. But there was another one. I can't remember what Sarah played. I think she might have been a vampire too. Or she was a magician. No, she was a magician or something. So I can't remember. Whatever. Not important. This is part of the World of Darkness series, and I think this is a sequel to a PC game because there is a Vampire the Masquerade game that came out a long time ago for PC, and I think this is a sequel to it. But it's a long-form RPG, a lot of talking and conversation trees and whatnot. So it's more like I don't want to call it like a what do they call it, like a digital novel thing or an interactive novel, but it's like in that vein. There's a lot of talking and conversations going on and stuff. So I have the other game I have the other game in this series. They also released a Werewolf the Apocalypse game for the PS5, which I also have, which is a part of World of Darkness. So as those games get released, I will purchase them. So can't wait to try that one out. I should probably play Werewolf first. That one's Mage. Yeah, she was a mage. I should probably play that game before I play this. I also picked up Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I've been putting off buying this because, like Justin here has been talking about, I refuse to pay $70 for a game that's like 3 years old at this point. This came out originally on the PS4. I bought it on the PS4 for Black Friday, funnily enough, that year. Got paid for like half price of what it was going for normally, so I think I paid like either $25 or $30 for it. And then when I heard that this was coming out as a director's cut on the PS5, I got rid of my PS4 version because I had never opened it, and I sold it brand new to that Freak Toys place in Wisconsin, and they paid me exactly what I paid for it because it was still sealed. So I basically broke even on it, so I don't feel bad about double dipping on it. But this was $70 for the longest time. I think it was a launch game for the PS5. And I'm like, I'm not paying $70 for a game that's like 2 years old. And then this dropped in price for Black Friday, so I'm like, I'm jumping on it now. So I guess this has some DLC mixed into it, and I can't wait to play it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I watched Nintendo stream some of it about a year ago, so can't wait to dive into that. Platinum pretty quick. Oh, yeah, it's finally 60 frames per second. Oh, I should probably play that. And then this game is like not even a month old, and it got discounted by half already, and that is Sonic Frontiers. It shocked the hell out of me. Everyone is praising this game. I know a lot of people had reservations about it because like the Sonic franchise could be kind of hit or miss, but this is a open world Sonic game, and I was watching the Game Beaters play some of this on YouTube, and it looked really fun. So I was like, hey, I'll probably pick that up if I find it discounted. And then like 3 days later, like the early Black Friday sales hit, and this was half off already. And I was like, now's the time. So I picked it up. It was 50% off. This was $29.99 when I bought it. So I was not going to pass that up. Like a brand spanking new game for $30, you bet your ass I'm picking it up. That's, like I said, I'm cheap. So open world Sonic game. It looked really fun. So I'm glad I picked that one up. And then the big game that I bought, the one that I actually paid full price for, I was hoping this would get discounted like Sonic did on Black Friday, because I was like, if Sonic got discounted and that just came out, I'm pretty sure this game will get discounted too. No, it didn't, because Sony's not stupid like that. But we're talking God of War Ragnarok, the launch edition. I wanted to play this game so bad. I was just like, the hell with it. I'll just buy it for $70 and just deal with it. And I'm currently playing this right now alongside Bloodstained. So like I'll play this for a little while, then I'll go play a little Bloodstained. And then I'll play this for a while, then I'll play a little bit of Bloodstained. And I'm loving it so far. I like the new attacks that you can get using both the blades from the original games and the axe, the Leviathan axe. I like the conversations that I keep having with Atreus now that he's a little bit older and stuff like that. And the whole thing with Thor at the beginning was pretty rad. I love that awesome boss battle. It's kind of reminiscent of that fight you have with, what was her name? Freya's son in the first game at the beginning when he's destroying your house and all that shit. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. I did fall asleep while playing this on the first night. So I brought it up with Jason when we were recording the Super Neighbor Brothers the other day. When I played the original Arkham Asylum for the PS3, when that first came out, I started playing it really late at night, and the first thing that you do in that game is you're just walking in a straight line as Batman through the lobby and like Arkham Asylum, and you're just being talked to while the credits are going by. And I thought that was so boring that I actually literally fell asleep sitting up with the controller in my hands because I was like, I want to beat people up, and what's this crap? Well, at the beginning of the game, yeah, you do a little bit of action-y stuff with Freya, like trying to stealth attack you guys while you're on the way home from a hunt. And once you get back to your house, there's some stuff going on with the dogs, and you go into your house, and there's some conversations you're having with, I can never remember the name of the severed head, the guy that hangs on Kratos' hip. I can never remember his name. But it was so long that I actually passed out while sitting up. And then all of a sudden I wake up and there's a woman talking to me, and I was like, oh, I should probably play this later when I'm actually completely conscious. And it wasn't that it was bad. It was just, I started playing this at like 2 a.m. and I was just like, so I'm about 8 hours into it right now, maybe. And it's really fun. I really like it. And I cannot wait to see where the story goes because it's going in some crazy directions right now. So super thrilled about it. And it looks amazing. I chose the performance mode, so it's going to be in 60 frames per second consistently instead of making it look graphically more impressive. Although I would like to see what it looks like graphically if I change the settings maybe once to see what it looks like, even though it's going to be running at 30 frames per second. But this runs smooth as silk. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. No machine, no sleep. You fall asleep while playing games all the time. I'm an old man, dude. That's why I'm the old-ass retro gamer. They just announced today the 2023 stuff coming forward, including a new playable character. For what? Oh, Frontiers? I didn't realize I was going to get DLC, so now I feel stupid that I bought it. Because I could have just waited for the complete edition. Yeah, this is the only game that I've paid full price for. Out of all the PS5 games, I have like 40 PS5 games or something like that. How many do I have? It's in my little app here. I have 46 PS5 games. This is the only one that I've paid full price for. Like I say, I try not to, but the curiosity got the better of me. Everyone else was playing it. Church was playing it. Jason was playing it. Shit, by the time I bought this, he'd already platinumed the damn thing. Because that guy just rips through games faster than I can't fathom how fast he plays through games. So yeah, it got the better of me. I was just like, I want it now. Give it to me. I'll pay $70. Whatever. And that's it. That's everything that I have purchased over the last 2 months. So lots of stuff to unpack. This is a long ass stream too, especially for a pickup video. Then again, I did have the issues at the very beginning. Oh, your backlist is huge. Yeah, mine is thousands of games deep. But yeah, I'm gonna probably go and play some God of War once I'm done with this. And yeah, backlog. Yep. I will be back tomorrow with a video game collection live stream. I haven't decided yet what console it's going to be for. It might be the Game Gear. It could possibly be for the Game Gear. Trying to think. It could be for the 3DO. I don't know. Depends. I have not made a decision yet. Most likely it will be for the Game Gear. So I will be back tomorrow, like I said, 8:30 p.m. Central for another Video Game Collection 2022 live stream. And then there will be another short available on Friday, which I already have recorded. I'll be releasing that probably midday on Friday. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everybody for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Everybody here is awesome. I will see you hopefully tomorrow if you guys are able to make it for that stream. And I will talk to you later. Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out. Have a good night, everybody, and stay safe out there. Oh yeah, I still haven't decided if I'm going to stream D&D here or on my Twitch channel or not. So maybe I should get a poll going on the Twitters. Keep an eye out for that. Bye. You mean pole dancing like this one?